everybody with the flexibility on the timing for today. So thank you. Let's go ahead and get into some questions with Coach. Let's go to Mike Duraco and then Gary Smith for the first two.
Hey, Doug, when you've got a defense that's struggling to not give up a ton of points like it has the last 6 weeks, how much pressure is that putting on Gardner and this young offense? I mean, they got to keep up, right?
Yeah, I think some of the things that I know that I'm going to start to look at, because so just to tell you, so yesterday, kind of got through the game, looking at that and started, creating a list of discussion points that we're going to have, starting today, and then obviously going on throughout the week. So that's where we are now, and I think there's a couple of things that I have some thoughts on. I haven't shared them with the staff yet. I think we can. I don't think, from a standpoint, you can look at ways to shorten the game. To do that, to keep the other team's opposing offense off. I think we can do things defensively to maybe avoid, some of the explosive plays that we have. But I think there's a lot, Mike, that goes into that. And what you're doing and how you're doing it. So we're going to talk about different things and look at some, maybe it might be week to week game plan adjustments, of what we do depending on our matchups. But I don't look at it as there's pressure on all of us. When you're sitting here at the record that we have, it's not one thing or another. It's really everything. And you see flashes of good play around, but gosh, you don't see the consistency that you need to win football games. So the answer to the question is no.
All right, let's go over to Gary Smith and then Hayes.
Doug, how does this off week differ from normal off weeks in the past, given the virus protocols? How often are you going to meet with your staff and players? In what manner will that happen? And then what are a couple of priorities you're going to work on with everybody this week?
Sure. So the first thing is with the COVID protocols. So we're still in intensive protocol. So we haven't been, we're not out of the intensive protocol, which means that, our meetings with the players during this week will be, virtual meetings, so we'll have that. And then the same limitations of how many people are in in the weight room, in the training room, social distancing, all the things that we had to do last week are still in place. With the players that, by the CBA, there's mandatory time off for them, on a bye week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they'll be lifting and running, and we'll have meetings with them. But they'll still have to test every day on a daily basis. The first thing that we'll do today, like I said before, we got through the game, is we're going to go out and look at, the course of ourselves first as coaches, the play calls, what we've done, analyze that. Could we put them in better position? And the first thing we have to look at is what, I can do, which I'll look at myself, as well as the players, what we can do better as coaches. Where we've, if we had to go back and do things over, what we would have done differently, type of situations. Then we'll go back to performance, then we'll look at the players and look at, hey, listen, who's performed, at this time, who do we think is getting better? Who do we think might be trending the other way or staying the same? And then see if we can make any adjustments personnel-wise as we move forward. After personnel, I think it goes to scheme, to look to see, is there anything that we want to be able to do differently? But at the end of the day, the dramatic changes that maybe, people might be looking at on the outside, you're talking about basically you're going to have one practice and you're going to be, getting ready for a game plan. So, if you're sitting there and people are saying that, you want all these, dramatic type changes going through and everything, that's not possible. But that doesn't mean we can't make changes and adjustments and win football games. And that's what we're going to do.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Sure.
Thank you, Smither. Let's go over to Hayes and then John Reed.
Yeah, Doug, what was your message to the team now that the players do have a little bit more free time this week?
Yeah, I'll meet with the team today at 2:30. I think I'll reiterate what I said in the locker room after the game. I think that where we are obviously is disappointing. It's not where we want to be, and that's basically what I told them. I basically reiterated all the things I've been saying, to everyone here about, there's flashes, there's times we haven't been able to take advantage of situations, critical points we haven't been able to execute, or we haven't put you in the best position that possible. So, it's not one person, two people, it's not a unit, it's really on all of us. Now, in saying that, I think like a lot of you guys say it is, how do you keep a team? The one thing that's going on right now is no one can question how hard these guys are playing. And I know the coaches are working their ass off. So you have that. But so long as you have that, you always have a chance. And, my deal with the team is, listen, all right, we're coming back. We're going to have 9 games left. All right. I want to stop, going back in the past, thinking about, the record, where it is, and let's go ahead and let's go after this 9-game season and break it up into 3 quarters, you know what I'm saying? And let's get excited and let's go play football. All right. And let's play at our best. Let's coach at our best, and let's coach, each game like, it's the most important game in the world. And I know that's cliche, and because every game is, but, I also have a level of excitement too, for me, thinking it that way. Because if I keep going back and going, oh shit, we should have done this, or hey, we're 1-6 and we're this, I mean, that's going to get you down. There's no doubt about it. I'm not wired the same as a lot of people. I think you guys have known me for a long time now, so I'm going to be able to block that out of my mind and go forward and be the best I can be for the coaches and the players.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Hayes. Let's go over to John Reed and then Mia.
How you doing, Coach?
Good.
How do you go about working on some of the things with the young players to try to see improvement over these final 9 games with their development?
Yeah, I think you got to look at how to build on some things. In other words, how do you take some of these young players? I think that you look at Devon Hamilton had an excellent game, last game. He really did. He played really well. How do you build on that? Laviska, all these young guys that are making plays at times, how do you get them to go to the next level? And I think the challenge for us as coaches is that, we know that we have these young players and we want to bring them from, here to here, from this level to the top level right away. And you can't, it's not going to happen as fast as you want at times, you know what I'm saying, as far as a coach, but you don't want to over coach you don't want to go too far where now all of a sudden you're not going to get the consistent play. It's a balance of, keeping that ceiling high where you want it, and then making sure you can build on the things you need to build on quickly, whatever it may be. Like, it may be a weakness, it may be something else, it may be, the passing game compared to the run game, things of that nature. So I think that with a lot of these young players, we've got to look at, hey, what have they done well and what's their next step? What's the next progression for them that they can, help us make a difference where we can win games.
I have one follow-up. I got 100 questions, but I have one follow-up. Have you had any conversation with Shad Khan, or do you have any meeting scheduled this week with this open date? Just, I don't know, reflection of update of a progress report or anything like that during the open week?
Yeah, we've talked every week. So, we talk, we communicate each week. And in each week, it's always, there's a lot of things that we go through, what's going on, what are we doing moving forward, what are we doing, a lot of those conversations. So it's not like there's no communication. We'll talk this week, just like we normally do. We communicated yesterday. and we'll talk again on Wednesday. And it's but it's natural. I mean, this is what's been going on, since I've been here.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, John. We'll get your 99 questions later. Let's go to Mia and then Mark.
Hey, Doug. Obviously, the completion percentage between DJ Chark and Gardner has taken a pretty significant drop these last 3 weeks as compared to the first 3 weeks of the season. And DJ looks visibly frustrated, at least on the television broadcast from this past weekend. I'm just curious if you've reached out to them, and as a head coach, how do you avoid some of those relationships maybe, going the other way?
Yeah, well, I don't see a problem with the relationship, you know what I'm saying? So it's not that. I do acknowledge that we haven't been, doing as good of a job as we've done earlier in the year. So, I think that, that could cause, and I'll use your word, for players, the frustration, you know what I'm saying? And I think for us as coaches, we've got to be challenged to upgrade ourselves there. I think that's, the one thing that we have to do a better job of is our, obviously our intermediate game and obviously our deep game. I don't think, that's the one thing that I think that we're, lacking. There's many things obviously when you're not winning, but, it's definitely something that we can improve on from a coaching standpoint and player standpoint. So, we've got to go ahead and keep fighting. Like I said, it's not the way we want to do it, either from whether it's Gardner or whether it's from DJ, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure, both of them at times, as long as everybody else, is frustrated. Okay. But, at the same time, what are we going to do moving forward? That's the big question. You know what I'm saying? What are we going to do moving forward? How can we get it better? How can we do a better job of it? But as far as the relations, there hasn't been any issues, in the locker room.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Thank you, Mia. Let's go over to Mark Long and then to John Shipley.
Yeah, Doug. Hey, just curious, are there any new injuries? And if you could take us through some updates on Avery Jones, Miles Jack, Jared Wilson, Tyler Eifert, and then how badly do you feel for Dede with his situation?
From the injuries from the game, so, Chris is back in the facility. Chris Thompson, you know what I'm saying? He's back in the facility. So, he's got to go through some of the protocol workouts to get back. So that'll be fine. Dede, obviously, he went on IR, and that's always tough. I mean, to have an injury like that and, non-contact injury, and you do that, he's worked hard and he was getting ready, coming back and being able to help. So I think that's tough. That's tough for anyone that gets hurt. We've had a lot of those players, just like Leon, the guys that have been here for a while and have worked hard. So, that's always tough. Miles is still recovering. I think we should have him back, next week, Mark. I'll know more. Divine, came back. He re-injured the same leg, same injury there, just in a different spot. So we'll see how that is. I think, Sidney Jones, we'll see how he's feeling. So I'll have a better idea in a couple of days. I think Eifert, we expect him to be back. AJ Can, we expect to be back. Brandon finished the game, so, it was tough for him. He's feeling sore, so I think that'll be week to week. We'll see how he goes. Dakota, we'll see how he progresses. Basically, he has the same ankle, that he's had before. And then that's where we are with that.
Okay, and then secondly, just kind of a big picture idea of where you're at quarterback wise. I mean, you've won a lot of games in this league and in college without like that prototypical franchise guy.
Yeah.
I mean, how important is it to find that guy? Would you like to have one like where you can just hang your hat on him week in and week out? Like,
I mean, it's the most
Seattle and Arizona did the other night.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most important thing. I think any one of us, when I say any one of us, I'm talking about 32. I think 32 head coaches, are always going to want that. And, at the end of the day, you got to do the best job you can with the players that you have. And I think even the best ones, there are some things that you're limited to. So I think you have to, play their strengths. And when they have a lot of strengths, then you can play more to it. and they can make a lot of other people better. But at the same time, you're not going to sit here when you're 1 out of 32 and be complaining. I think that we've got to take a look at how can we get these guys playing to a level where we can win games, and we've done it before. And I have done it before. Done it in Syracuse, done it in Buffalo. And done it here. And I think that we've got to get improvement in a lot of different areas, and that's why I say it's on everybody. Just to say, it's easy to place the blame on one player and one position, but it's our jobs to go ahead and do that, and never use that as an excuse. So, we'll see where we are. I think that we'll take a good look at it. Like I said, I am, and I'm not going to bullshit anyone. I'm kind of fired up. And I know you guys are probably sitting like, what the hell is going on? How could this guy be fired up? They just lost 6 in a row, and I understand that. I totally do. But, I'm gonna bust my ass, man. I mean, I'm telling you now, I'm going to look at some things. I want to go a little bit outside the box. I mean, I want to, challenge these coaches and challenge these players. And see, I am going to do whatever I can to get the best out of this team and best out of these players. I mean, so, I'm sure people are going to, mock me for that or say whatever the hell they want, but I really don't give a shit. I'm fired up. I'm going to go after it, and, however it falls, but, it's open for me. I've done, crazy shit before, a lot of people don't know. We changed an offense, 4 or 5 days prior to the opening of our season in Syracuse. You know what I'm saying? My last year. We just went in a whole different direction, and shit, it worked out. We took chances on some guys. We took a chance on a guy named James Robinson, and he's playing his ass off. So, I'm kind of fired up, man. Let's go.
Well, I can't wait to see the Veer option with LaVisca. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Those 5.
Come on in and give us a clinic on.
Coach. All right, let's go 2 final questions. Let's go John Shipley, and then we'll finish with Gene.
Hey, Coach. Just through the first 7 games of the season, do you feel happy with what you guys have gotten out of Joe Schobert at middle linebacker?
Yeah, I think I mean, you're going to look at everyone. I'm not going to sit here and I understand. I think that there are things that he wants to do better. Sure. He's coming off a game where, he missed a couple of tackles, and then 2 weeks ago, he's probably coming off his best game, so I think, when you look at that and you look at where we are, it's difficult. And this is what's tough. I think, you really got to take a good look at yourself and say, hey, listen, I've got to be able to do a better job, and I think one of the things that I've learned, unfortunately, when I've been on teams that haven't won football games, is the one thing people try to do is say, well, I'm playing well, or I'm coaching well, or my group's doing well. And when you start getting that, that's where you start getting a separation. That's where you start, people trying to protect each other or themselves. And, it happens a lot, not within the building. It probably happens more outside the building. I'm fortunate, when I go home, I get drilled worse, from my family than I do, in interviews, and it's tough. But the one thing that happens is it's not well, hey, listen, you're doing what you're supposed to do. It's everyone else that's not. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we can't have. So when you're asking about the total performance, is, hey, listen, that game 2 weeks ago, how do we get that game for the next 9 weeks in a row? That's how I look at it, more on that type of vision.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, Shipley. Let's go over to Gene for the last question.
Hey, Doug. Normally, teams with your kind of record don't ever engage in trades and to try to acquire people and give up picks and things like that. Would you have any interest whatsoever in trying to pursue Quentin Williams?
Yeah, I think that's a question for Dave. I mean, maybe Tad can get Dave, to talk to you guys about that. And the only reason why I say it like that, Gene, is because I had the 53 players I have on this team. That's what I'm focused on. So I'm not like a guy that, is like, hey, listen, let's go, sign this player, that player, that player, that player. Let's get, when you do that, again, that's not my responsibility, but I don't want to take away from the coaches and the players. And we as coaches don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it creates another step for, well, this guy can't play, go out, get me another guy. No, bullshit. You got to get this guy better. You got to get him to play as good as we can. So that's something that I think, I apologize that I'm just not in that mode. Am I open to get our team better? Absolutely. But am I the person that's out there looking to see how these guys are playing and what's going on other teams? I'm not afforded that time, so I can't really answer that question.
Quick follow-up. Is what we were seeing last game or two from Devon Hamilton an example of what you're hoping to see in the second half of the year, that a light goes on for the younger players and they take this step up? Because it seemed to have happened with Devon, at least this last game it did.
Yeah, I mean, he really played well. I think, I don't know, Gene, if the right phrase is, the light goes on. I was kind of like with Ben Barch, all right? And I haven't talked to Ben. And I haven't even talked to Coach Warhop, just kind of watching him, in these last two games of where he's been. And, it's like he would have had 100 and something snaps in the preseason, probably, so, now he's getting these snaps. And listen, I'm not saying he's, a Hall of Fame right now, a Hall of Fame guard, but I know this in my experience as an offensive line coach, there are some things that he's done a really nice job of. He's tough, he's strong, and there's some things that he struggled with, some of the pass protection stuff, with the one-on-one, which is natural. He's got to get the reps, get that experience, and go. I think with Devon Hamilton, I think those reps are at that time where you start to see, it goes. And I think each person's a little bit different on, where it hits. Kind of like, I agree with the term when that light switch goes on, but what's controlling that light switch is the amount of reps that he gets to all of a sudden now he can perform at that level. I know this. That is what we're trying to get done with these young players. And I think that's why a player like, James Robinson's a little bit different because, he was able to do that at this level right away. But when you look back at his college career and his high school career, boy, he's had a lot of damn snaps of being able to do it and doing it at this level. And I think that's why, the way he's performing is pretty special, because like you said, it's not as easy, for the success that you've had, in college to just come to this league and expect the same types of success. You've got to get your way, play your way into that success and obviously have that ability.
Thanks.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Gene. Appreciate the time, guys. We'll see everybody next Monday. If you have any questions during the week.